Hello, everybody. This is X299. Just going ahead and making another fantasy football league. This is going to be for Week 16. Cover what happened in Week 15, which was the playoffs of our fantasy football league. As you know, I was number 2, went up against number 3. First of all, T Money. Congratulations to him. He was number 1 in the league, and he played the number 4th place Den Bronc and beat them and knocked them out. Actually, he knocked them down to the 3rd place game. And in my semifinal, I was actually knocked out. I was surprised by this. I actually figured I was going to beat the HIMS heavy hitters, actually looking at it last week. And you'll see that I actually lost this game by over 20 points. And if you look here, all right, yeah, if you look here, you see Tony Romo was really my only big fantasy point producer, and that's, about average, maybe a little above average for a quarterback, 20 points. He did do fairly better than Tom Brady, who I had on the bench. I was happy my Cowboys beat the Eagles. Tony Romo did have 3 passing touchdowns to Dez Bryant, but only put up 20 points, 20 and a half points. LaShawn McCoy, again, he was like my first draft pick in the fantasy football. But McCoy's been a huge fantasy football letdown this season overall. He's had 2 or 3, big weeks, but overall, just too many 3-point weeks, 2-point weeks, 6-point weeks, just like this week here. LaShawn McCoy, not a big fantasy producer this year. It sure doesn't seem that way. And he was a big letdown again this week. Terrence West, you can't expect a whole lot out of him, especially at a 30-0 loss. AJ Green, again, big letdown here with under 5 points. And then Julio Jones didn't even play, so that was I wasn't expecting that. When I looked at Julio Jones on Thursday, I don't think there was even any kind of indicator or any kind of news that he wasn't going to play. So this must have came in Friday or something like that. I wasn't watching. Larry Donnell, not a big impact for him. Golden Tate had a pretty good game at 10.3. The kicker for New England, Gostowski, had an 11-point game. That was pretty good. And the Lions got 9 points. But overall, big portion of my wide receivers and running backs just didn't produce squat. And that was kind of a big surprise and a big letdown for me here. And really not a whole lot of nobody on my bench really produced either. And if you look here at his team, he had Drew Brees scoring 27 points, 15-point game out of the tight end for New England, Gostowski. And Texans had a big game again on the defense, 13-point defensive performance, and Arian Foster. So his points just totaled up to more than mine, even though he had 2 guys on injured reserve. He still beat me, and just a bad week for me to have so many of these just almost zero performances out of so many running backs and wide receivers and everything. So just wasn't a good week for me, and I lost, and it was a game that really mattered. So even though I went 10-3 up until this game, this was a game that I really needed some performance out of my guys, and you win some, you lose some. It is what it is. But now I've got a chance to, if I go back to my league, I'm not going to be too disappointed. This is my first year playing fantasy football, and especially, covering it on videos and stuff like that. Like I say, I did play fantasy football one other time, but this is really only my second time playing fantasy football, and my first time covering it on YouTube. But now we got a big championship between T-Money and HIMS Heavy Hitters. That ought to be a good game this weekend. And then I'm fighting for the 3rd place title, going up against Den Bronc. So let's go ahead and take a look at that and see what we need to do for that game. He's 9-5. I'm 11-3 going into this. Let's take a look and see what we need to do to try to come in 3rd place in my fantasy football league. Oh boy, I'm going up against Aaron Rodgers. That's not good. Brady going up against the Jets, or Tony Romo going up against the Colts. Boy, I don't know. And see, every week it predicts LaShawn McCoy is going to have one of these 16, 20-point games, and I seem like all the time he's getting 3 or 4 or 5 points. Is AJ Green actually going to play this week? Let's take a look here. Missed practice Thursday due to an illness. Report adds that Green should be back on the field Friday, which would put the wideout in track to play in Monday's game against the Broncos. Well, let's hope he can play. And Julio Jones, non-participant in practice Thursday. Jones' continued absence decreases the likelihood that he will take the field. Mike Smith stated Wednesday that the final call on the wide receiver's availability won't be made until the release of the inactive list on Sunday. So Julio Jones probably ain't going to play again. He didn't play last week, so I probably ought to go ahead and replace him. Even though, and I don't know why it's coming in here and projecting 18 points for him when he's not likely to even play. Golden Tate expected to have a big week against Chicago. Well, let's see here. Trying to think what I can do here. Trent Richardson. I think what I'll do is I think I'm going to go back here. I don't think I'm going to go in and try to draft anybody because we already know the pickings are going to be slim and go in and try to draft somebody new. Let's go ahead and go back to our team here. And I think what I'm going to do here is I think that Julio Jones ain't going to play, so I think I'm going to go ahead and take Trent Richardson, kick Julio Jones out. And Trent Richardson can't play their wide receiver. What was I going to do? Oh, I was going to play Golden Tate. Put him in for Julio Jones here, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and take Trent Richardson, put him in the wide receiver or running back slot. And I don't know if Tony Romo, he might be due to have a bad game this week. But if DeMarco Murray don't play, it's going to depend on Romo to actually put up some big numbers to win the game. I might be better off going ahead and leaving Romo in. In fact, I think I am. I think that's the only switch I'm actually going to make this week. So I think I'm going to go ahead and submit that. And go back to the game center here. Take a look at it's got him projected to win by about 20 points here. He's got a lot of big numbers projected here, and that very well might happen. So I'm either going to come in third or fourth place, depending on what happens. But, you know, I didn't win at all. I didn't win the game last week, so I'd be in the major championship this week. So it is what it is. I'm just going to go ahead and let what happens happen here. I made the switches that I could, and this is going to be my last game, last fantasy football. So I'm either going to come in third or fourth in my fantasy football league. And, you know, that's not too bad. Considering each fantasy football league has anywhere between 10 and 12 teams, and I think we had 10 teams in this one this year. But coming in third or fourth, I'll be happy with that. We'll see what happens. I want to go ahead and thank you guys for watching. Be sure you let me know what's happening in your fantasy football leagues. You know, if you're watching this video, be sure that you let me know what you think about fantasy football, or, you know, maybe your surprises in fantasy football and your letdowns in fantasy football overall. And let me know what you think. Be sure you put those comments down below. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Be sure you subscribe right up here to my so you get all my future videos in the future. And thanks so much for watching. Take care, everybody. This has been Zaxter99.